Welcome back to another episode of Servers RC. We got the Sledge out again today for another round of mods. Today we're going to be installing aluminum shock caps and aluminum spring retainers. So going with the same color combination after I ordered them, I kind of contemplated maybe I should have done orange just to mix it up, but I already placed the order, and to be honest, I've never seen the orange in person, so Traxxas is usually pretty good. Their anodizing is pretty on point, bright, get the same color every time. So maybe would have liked to switch it up, but we're going to go ahead and throw the green on. So obviously, you could pull plastic shock caps, plastic thread on aluminum body. Last thing you want to do is be servicing your shocks out in the field wherever you're driving. So I always do this just as preventative, and also obviously it looks really good. So we're going to go ahead and get started on this. I'll set up the camera, and we're going to start on the rear just because you have to remove the wing to get to the nut in the back. I'm sure you could finagle it to be able to do it without, but just to make it easier, we're going to do that. So I'll go ahead and set up the camera. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started by removing the rear wings. So you got 2 bolts right here as well as 2 in the rear. So we'll go ahead and get those undone to access the bolts for the shocks. So if you're using the driver, like I always like to mention in my videos, lowest torque setting, lowest speed, where you're not stripping anything out. Set those to the side. Set your wing to the side. So at this point you can access the bolts. So you have the Allen head on this side with the lock nut on the other. And we're going to go ahead and get those pulled off. That's going to be a 2.5 millimeter for the Allen. So far been happy with how this truck performs. Probably will look at doing some springs. I mean, any truggy, they don't have a ton of suspension travel before you hit the chassis when jumping or anything like that. So I've always just went with Traxxas springs on all my other trucks, which are just standard springs and usually just go into kind of the stiffest spring rates that they have. I think on this truck I am going to go with a set of progressives. I've never done progressive spring rate, so we'll go ahead and maybe try some progressives. Supposedly you get that first little bit of travel that's pretty plush with a soft spring rate, and then after that you have the feel or stiffness of a stiffer spring rate in the middle. Sorry guys, I was just looking at this assembly here. So I thought we were going to have to pop these plastic spacers, they call them, out of the stock cap, but it did include spacers. So you're going to take this insert out of that plastic spacer that clips into the shock cap. You will reuse that, but besides that, I think we will just be swapping them over. After doing multiple trucks now, I have found that the easiest way is just to throw a rag on here, and if you have a shock clamp tool, it's great. Rag keeps you from marring the finish. shock cap tool just grabs the body. I used to do it by hand and run the spring retainers down, and then from running them down as far as they can to get your hand on it, you end up getting to where that's pretty bound up, hard to get off. So I've just found this method works the best. So you'll just unthread your stock cap there. Should come off relatively easy. Plastic, so no thread lock or anything like that. Set your plastic one aside. I don't know why I always tend to keep absolutely everything in case for whatever reason something breaks, or to be honest, have spares for my friends. So you'll thread your retainer off. And this bladder here is important, so sometimes they'll stay in the cap when you take it off, sometimes they'll stay on the body. You'll definitely be reusing those. I try to just leave it in place as is. Set that vertically so no fluid spills out. Go ahead and grab one of your billet retainers, and I will post the part numbers. Part numbers should be relatively the same, just there's a letter at the end that indicates the color. So if you don't want to do green, you want to do all blue, or throw some orange or red, whatever you want to do. So you'll thread those down. A lot of people Loctite it, you know, rule of thumb is aluminum on aluminum. You Loctite the cap. The spacers have O-rings in them, so you don't got to worry about that, the retainers. But the shock cap, some people will put thread lock on them. And I've just kind of left them because I usually do shock caps and retainers first and see where I land with how I like the spring rate. So if you're going to do that or adjust your fluid weights at all afterwards, it's just better to leave it. So you'll pop that plastic spacer, as they call it, in. Well, looks like I may have done it wrong, so you could see a flat side. It's best to have that flat side be on the flat part of the shock cap. That way you're not spinning inside of there. So we'll see if I can get this back out. So flat part, go on the flat part of the body. Those just pop in there. Go ahead and put your threaded insert back in. Could probably wait to do that, but go ahead and get these threaded on. Make sure they're nice and snug. So it does look like your threaded piece here is going to go on the back side, just matching it up to the shock that I still have on. And pull your wheel back up to get that in place. grab your 2.5. So that insert is threaded, so I think it adds to durability here that this bolt is threaded all the way through. Try to get this through with the driver. At this point, you'll get your lock nut on the back side. Do your final tightening, torquing by hand. And there you can see, you now have aluminum shock cap with the aluminum retainer. And we'll go ahead and adjust settings at the end. Go ahead and time lapse the rest and get back to you guys. Okay, so we're all wrapped up with that. Got the wing mount put back on and everything. One thing I did notice that I'd like to mention is the shock caps, stock or aftermarket, on the Sledge are a lot more shallow. So I would recommend this mod on a truck like this even more so, because, you know, I'm not going to go and say that this is a must-have mod. But on most trucks, the caps go down pretty far where you have a lot of thread in the cap. On this particular truck, there's very few threads in the actual cap. So having aluminum on aluminum compared to plastic that could rip out, in my opinion, is a lot better on a truck like this. So I definitely recommend an aluminum shock cap upgrade on this truck. As you can see, looks great. Green contrasts off the blue really well. As always, guys, please like, comment, and subscribe. We're going to get this truck out and do some more runs with it and see how it performs. I need to get the O-rings for the drive cups so I don't have that issue again. But offer still stands too. When we hit 1,000 subscribers, I will give away one of those Amazon Hypergos, brand new in the box. Ship it right to your door. So any support is greatly appreciated. I'm going to do a post too, just to see, you know, what content do you guys want to see? You know, is it the Sledge? Is it the X-Max, the XRT, UDR, Revo? Just, you know, so I can give you guys what you want. So anyways, that's all I got for this install. Thanks again.